Hi everyone, I'm back again with another guest of mine. Let's meet Darlene. Hi Darlene, how are you doing?
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Darlene. Thursday morning, waiting for the week to end, but also excited that I got finally some time to catch up with you. So this week has been really good.
I'm excited to talk with you today too.
Absolutely, Darlene. So, quick introduction about Darlene, who Darlene is. Darlene is EVP, Chief Strategy and Transformation Officer with one of the largest credit unions in the country, Suncoast. The way how we met was really funny. So, we just, we bumped into each other in a conference, right? In a conference few days back in Texas. And I literally requested Darlene, would you do this favor to me? Would you come to the podcast? And she was gracious enough to keep that, and she agreed to come to my podcast. So again, Darlene, thank you for agreeing to spend this half an hour with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here and share some insights.
Our pleasure, Darlene. So let's go take a quick introduction and background about what Darlene does. So Darlene, so we were chatting earlier about what are the different areas she does look onto, right? And it's a long list. So I wanted to trim it a bit just for the interest of time. So net, Darlene runs the growth engine, the growth and the innovation engine, right, for Suncoast. That has propelled Suncoast to grow this X over the last N number of years, right? So she spent almost 35 years with Suncoast. One of the true blue veteran is what I call of the credit union ecosystem. She eats, sleeps, repeats credit union. That's what she does for the last 35 years. And she's completing what 35 years next month with Suncoast. One of the very few individuals who spent this amount of years with one credit union, right? Now, going on to a bit details, she leads growth functions, starting with growth functions, that anything that's member facing, product development, project management, anything that's lending, the QSO operations, community impact, deposit operations. Again, it's a laundry list, right? We won't be able to finish everything, but she almost runs more than 70% of the credit union in all true sense, right? So that's what that role is. And apart from that, all of us know that she got awarded as one of the most powerful women in credit unions by American bankers. So, Darlene, again, congratulations on that. We are super proud of that.
Thank you so much.
Great. So, I hope I was able to do 50% justice to your introduction because I could not cover half of what you do because it's too much. So, if you want to add something over the Darlene, please feel free to go ahead and add anything you want.
I think you did a great job covering it. Transformation for the organization is one of my key roles just to ensure we're always keeping up with the ever-changing landscape of financial services.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in the new era of financial services, you have to be on your toes. It's not competing with credit unions, but also at the end of the day, competing with larger FIs, the larger banks, fintechs. So that's what you are doing right now, and you're doing a phenomenal job over there.
Thank you.
Yep. Done. First question. Now, since everyone got overwhelmed with the number of roles that you have, I'm very sure that you don't even have a few minutes that are open on your calendar. Your calendar looks like, oh, messed up, right? What keeps you going?
So what really keeps me energized is that next trip. I love to travel. I love to experience different cultures. I love to meet new people. And so I have a girl group of some other credit union leaders, and we take an international trip at least once a year. Getting ready to go to Barcelona in 2 weeks. Very excited about that. And then I like to do a lot of in U.S. travel as well. So try to disconnect and get out of the office by getting out into the world, meeting new people, and experiencing different cultures.
Wow, that sounds really interesting from two perspectives. One is what you do, and second, I smell opportunity. I'm like, okay, now you're going out with a girl group of women leaders. Should I be there to interview all of you guys at once?
You should tag along. Come on with us. It'd be fun.
Absolutely, I would love to the next time once you plan, darling. Absolutely.
Yes.
I want to cover your journey, right? So obviously, for a illustrious 35 years now. I mean, that's a huge, long time. You started, you know, in the credit union long back now. You are in C level for n number of years and marching towards leadership, right? So let's talk about your journey. So how has been your journey so far, darling? How did you start and how did you reach this role?
So I started at Suncoast opening checking accounts, right? I worked at a bank previously, and I didn't really know what a credit union was. And I was introduced to a credit union by my mom. She worked for the school system, and she loved the receptionist that used to greet her in the lobby every time she came to do business at the main branch. And so she encouraged me to put an application in, and I was raised by a strong Italian woman, so you don't question her when she asks you to do something. So I did it. Fast forward 35 years, right? Um, so my journey started out as an employee, trying to learn some new things about financial services. And I quickly discovered the difference between a bank and a credit union. I quickly understood that the culture of supporting not only employees but members, primarily ones that were struggling financially, was something that helped me make an impact in the community. And it quickly became more than just a job, and it became a mission. So a personal mission. And I worked my way up through various areas of the organization because I just have a really deep desire to learn more and to understand. I like to understand what makes things function. And so I would insert myself in conversations that I would hear in a hallway that really probably had nothing to do with what I was assigned to do at the time, but it was intriguing to me. So I would ask questions and I would ask if I could participate in cross functional working groups just because I really wanted to learn more. And I had some mentors and some leaders that paved the way for me that were very gracious, and they supported that desire to learn more and gave me opportunity to fall into my greatest passion, which is lending. So I was directly responsible for lending both consumer and mortgage for a majority of my career here at Suncoast. And when I saw how we could impact and influence the path that consumers would take through life, um, immediately I was drawn to it and just dove in. And so I came up through the organization in different areas of leadership, primarily on the lending side of it. Um, and then just had opportunity after 2008 to expand into some different areas, which eventually found my way to senior leadership. And the rest is history.
That's fantastic to hear. I mean, one trait that I can extract out of the entire conversation is being inquisitive, right? I mean,
Yes.
always be inquisitive about things around you. It doesn't matter if it's under the purview of what you do. But I think you're a prime example, Darlene, that if you are inquisitive about things, always have an open mind,
Hmm.
you can reach the leadership of any organization, be it credit union, outside credit union, anywhere. It's basically life, right? That's a life
Yes.
mantra is what I would say. That's the reason Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish is such a famous book which everyone should read.
Right.
So that's amazing to hear. Now, a follow up to that, obviously, past 35 years were definitely not very easy because when you started there out in credit unions, I'm sure there are not a lot of women over there,
Right.
right? Be it
Yes.
credit unions, be it any financial services.
Hmm.
Now, walking these 35 years and reaching a C level, right? Being a female leader, that too for one of the top 20 credit unions, it has not been an easy journey.
Hmm.
So, do you want to share a few challenges that you faced across the way, and how did you walk across and move those challenges aside and
Hmm.
walk your journey out?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll give you a really specific example, just because this one really stands out. And I like to kind of fall back on this when I'm mentoring other young female leaders. So in 1999, Suncoast didn't have an indirect lending program. And that was kind of one of the projects that I worked on to create that infrastructure within our organization. I'm sure, as you're aware, most of your listeners are aware, the auto industry is primarily led by male leaders. And when you would go visit the car dealerships and talk to the finance directors and the general managers, usually it was a male. And
Yeah.
I was a young female at the time, and so wasn't necessarily taken seriously. Um, kind of the discounted. I wasn't always able to open the door to the decision maker of the dealership. They would, refer me down to other team members. I think just not to be bothered. And, the key for me there was I could have taken two approaches, right? I could have said, I don't belong in this world. This isn't going to work for me. So I'm just going to step back and I'm not going to try to make this impactful initiative succeed in Suncoast. Uh, or I took the path that I chose. I refused not to be heard. I refused not to be taken seriously. I felt like I had enough knowledge and experience to bring value to this particular entity, right? The dealerships. And so it's persistence.
Yeah.
So as a female leader, you have to have persistence. You have to have confidence in your skill, and you have to understand that you deserve to be at the table equally to anyone else that's sharing that space with you. So I always think about don't let one or two or three individuals that perhaps aren't as open to a female leader dictate where you go in life. I work too hard, right, to put myself in opportunities to to be able to be promoted and work my way into different levels. I refused to allow one or two individuals that maybe didn't have quite as open of a mind to that dictate where my success would be or where my cap would be. So persistence. You have to keep driving. You have to keep asking the questions, showing why you can be valuable
Yep.
to an entity, and continue to speak your mind and just be bold. What's the worst thing that's going to happen, right?
Exactly. That's what I even struggle to, know, talk to people whom I mentor and speak up, right?
Right.
It doesn't harm anything, darling. Uh, The biggest prime example, it's unrelated, but still, if I wouldn't have walked up to you in that
Mm-hmm.
event and just told you, darling, do you want to join my podcast? You wouldn't have had any dream that Anurag does a podcast. Who's Anurag? I don't even exist.
Right.
It's important to speak up and talk to people. I mean, what's the worst thing? It won't happen, that's all. But what
Right. And that's okay.
that's
Hmm.
okay.
Try
I
again next time.
try again next time, exactly. So that's the most important thing, I think. It's very important for my listeners, at least, to take away from these questions that speak up. I mean, that's the most it's amazing. Now, talking about leadership style, right? I mean, we were talking about leadership styles that
Mhm.
I personally believe are very important. So let's talk about any specific trait or leadership style, darling, that you have had grown over the last 35 years. Because you know, there is school of thought that leaders are born, but I
Yes.
strongly feel leaders are made over a
Hmm.
period of time. Leaders are made with coaching, with transformation, right? Leaders are
Hmm.
not born. I mean, it's fancy to hear leaders are born, but again, they are molded into a leader. So, do you want to talk about your leadership style? Any traits or philosophies that guides your leadership?
Yes, absolutely. So for me, transparency is number one. If you don't set very clear expectations and you don't provide the right guidance, it's not fair to expect your team members to understand what the expected outcome is or where the end goal is. So be very transparent, be very clear in expectations. I think people typically appreciate that. Set guardrails. And then I have a very open door policy. You can contact me if I'm in the office, if I'm out of the office. If there's a question that you have, my door is always open. You don't have to schedule a meeting, you just walk in and empower your staff. So once you've set the expectations, they understand the goals, the guardrails are clear, then empower your staff to make those decisions. Um, I have evolved as a leader. To your point, I don't think leaders are born either. I think maybe some characteristics are inherent, right? So just maybe you have to have a little bit of confidence, you have to be a little bold, but I agree that you evolve into a different leader. I started my first leadership role at Suncoast in my mid 20s. So I was very young, I was inexperienced, and I have certainly learned from mentors over the years Um, I would say some of the traits that I acquired that I didn't necessarily have as a young leader: patience. Patience and the understanding that not everyone is going to do things exactly the way you would. But as long as the outcome is similar, that's okay. But I had to learn that. I had to sit back in certain situations and say, don't insert yourself. It's not fair to the team member that you've given this responsibility to. And quite candidly, if I insert myself into every scenario, I don't have time to do the grander job, right? And so patience was something I had to learn. But be transparent, set clear goals, and also let your team members know that you will walk beside them. There's not a task or a job that I haven't even done already or I'm not willing to do that I ask someone to do. So transparency, empowerment, set clear goals, and be willing to walk next to your team members in that journey when they need some help.
That's the most important thing. I mean, this is amazing to hear about all of this. One very quick nugget that I can hear about that, Darlene, is one, people do not need to schedule meetings in your calendar to come and shoot people. Just, walk down. That's the best thing. I mean, there are hardly any leaders that I've seen where this is even possible.
Yes. Yeah, I sometimes they walk in just because they want to share some exciting news that's happened to them in the day, or let's be honest, sometimes the day was stressful and maybe they need to just come in and spend 5 minutes releasing some of that stress. And I'm okay with that too. That's what I'm here for.
That's great to hear. I know we are almost on top of the hour, but we'll just do a couple of quick questions, right? Try to go very quickly. You do you have any advice to aspiring female leaders? Because a lot of people do struggle against speaking up, being not transparent, speaking up is a huge problem. Do not seek mentorship. A lot of people don't seek mentorship.
Mhm.
But you might have any specific piece of advice for aspiring leaders, specifically aspiring women who want to reach the leadership level as of yours. I mean, any specific advice that would be of great help.
Yes, so I would advise be a continuous learner. So your journey isn't over until you decide to no longer contribute to the professional world. So continue to be a learner, continue to ask questions, insert yourself into conversations and into initiatives, even if you feel like they're a little bit outside of your comfort zone. One of the things that's really important as a female leader is to have the confidence to sit at the table, to understand you've earned that seat, to be vocal. And I know not everyone has a bold personality that allows them to speak up or be the loudest one in the room. And that's okay. You don't always have to be the loudest one in the room, but you do have to make sure that you're expressing your ideas and your thoughts. And ask for mentorship. I believe that I owe that to other leaders that are trying to come up now in the credit union world, and most successful credit union executives are willing to provide mentorship, and so absolutely look for those that you respect. Look for someone that you can lean into for advice, and be a little bit willing to take risk. You have to be willing to take some risk.
I mean, for everyone, these are golden nuggets of advice that Darlene is sharing over a period of 35 years. It's not just she has spent a decade like me. I mean, she considers me as a kid, but still, this is a golden piece of advice. I think all of us should, abide by, quote unquote. Being credit unions, outside credit unions is a very valuable. Darlene, two last questions. One
Okay.
question, what I want to ask uh, is about wins. Now, you've had obviously multiple ups and downs and successes and failures. So this podcast is celebrating wins of women leaders, right? I mean, we also talk about challenges and failures, absolutely on the face. But I want to ask you some questions. Let's talk about a few wins, darling, that you're actually proud of at
Okay.
Suncoast.
2008. That's an easy one. So the Great Recession hit in 2008. At that time, I was vice president of loan originations for both consumer and mortgage. So my specialty was underwriting loans. And at that time, we began to see some of our first foreclosures, our first delinquent mortgages within our portfolio. And my CEO asked me to grab 7 of my most talented underwriters and build a member solutions department that would focus on foreclosure prevention. I knew nothing of foreclosure prevention, right? As I mentioned, my job at the time was to approve the loans and build the business, and I really didn't have much knowledge into the side of collections or foreclosure prevention. But it was a need that the credit union had, so I said, sure. So we jumped in. We started looking at products that would help our members. We started creating ideas on how we could provide counseling, and it quickly expanded. That 7 team members grew to 25. We created programs that our examiners were then sharing with other credit unions because of the success we had. One of the other things that I'm very proud of is I was a contributor to the HARP program, and that was not only instituted in the state of Florida, but it was taken across other states during that Great Recession to help consumers retain home ownership. And so at the end of that 18 months, we saved 4,500 members from losing their homes, which I'm very proud of. But we also taught them new life skills and financial budgeting skills because we took a holistic approach to it. So I would say if I had to pick one of my most proudest moments, that would be it.
That's, I mean, it's like being thrown into an ocean without a lifeboat. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, as simple as that. It's so difficult. I can't even imagine starting a department to stop foreclosures. It's pretty difficult.
Yes,
That that
it
that
was
that's not
difficult times.
difficult time, difficult measures, but you came shining. I'm proud of you. That
Thank you. Thank you.
So one parting question, with all your wisdom that you have, 2024 was definitely very difficult year, talking about margins and rates across the ecosystem. 2025, my two cents might be better, looks at getting better, but
Hmm.
still, what are your 2 cents on the on 2025, looking at the entire credit union ecosystem? That's one part of the question, and second part would be, how does 2025 look like for Suncoast?
Yeah. So I still have some concern with loan portfolio quality in 2025 because of economic factors that are still present. I know we've started to see a shift in interest rates, but they haven't dropped substantially yet. Consumers are still suffering with inflation. And so I still think 2025 is going to be a time where our members need workout solutions and they need our support. This is the time where we have to show up for them. We have to be willing to lend through these
Yep.
economic challenges. It's not the time to pull back. So I think it will be a slower recovery in 25. I think towards the end, though, we're going to start to see uh, the light at the end of the tunnel. I think we'll see a reduction in inflation. I think we'll start to see improved rates at a more significant, impactful level. And for Suncoast, we are very focused on bringing solutions to our members that need the financial assistance. We're very focused on growing our membership base, not for the sole purpose of getting bigger, because we don't ever look at growth from that lens. Our desire to grow is to ensure that we're bringing our value proposition to more consumers, especially in these difficult times. That we have lofty membership growth goals that are in our business plan. We have some new fintech lending initiatives that are in the pipeline that I'm very excited about that'll help reach more consumers as well. And one of the most, I think, significant changes for 2025 from a digital capability perspective, we're rolling out a new mobile app in 2025. And so I think that's going to bring a lot of additional access to our members, especially those in remote areas, and more functionality from a payment and money movement perspective.
I mean, that's uh, quite a lot that you're looking at. I mean, we again appreciate you taking a time out with us and sharing this insights, Darlene. I mean, I know we are super busy and we are almost on top of the hour. Actually, 10 minutes late to which we scheduled the meeting with this podcast. So, that, again, thanks a lot for sharing these insights with us, and thank you for your time today. We really, really appreciate. Thank you.
Well, thank you for inviting me to your podcast. I very much enjoyed speaking with you.
Absolutely.